Very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Privilege to introduce to you Mr. Nimish Gupta, the head of campus recruitment globally and geo-lead for Asia Pacific, Australia, New Zealand, Middle East, Africa and India for Mahindra Satyam. Earlier, Sir was head of delivery, operations and relationship for technology learning services of MSLW and also program manager for entry-level programs. He has been associated with Mahindra Satyam for more than 4 years. He moved into Mahindra Satyam from media. During his tenure at Star News as Assistant Vice President, Operations and Technical, Sir was responsible for engineering, IT, satellite communication, pre-production and post-production. He also looked into affairs of Star Marta and Star Anando. Prior to this, he served Corps of Signals, Indian Army for more than 20 years and has held leadership positions in delivery and operations of telecommunication, IT, computerized wargaming, electronic warfare and signal intelligence. Sir has also published papers in USI Journal and awarded Commendation Card. Educationally, apart from being a graduate of St. Stephen College, Delhi, Mr. Gupta has done BTech, Telecom and Electronics, ME, Computers and MBA, Marketing and Strategy from XLRI Jamshedpur. He loves reading, music, traveling, writing, playing squash, basketball and swimming and believes every challenge is an opportunity. Sir, podium is all yours. Thank you.
So, first, few rules. My name is Nimish, and I would like you to address me with my first name. Sir was never my name. I don't know whose name was that. And especially in Mahindra Satyam, in our company, we follow that we address each other by the first name. I request you all to please call me sir, by call me first name Nimish. And if you still insist, then I will call you Uncle and Aunties. The choice is yours. I can understand the pride that you must be having, having gone through so many speakers, okay, before me and there are few after me also. I am not sure that I am going to be speaking anything very different than what you already know or what has already been covered so far. And I thought before we could start, I do have a presentation, I could possibly take you through of that. But if you have any questions in mind, anything, maybe we could begin with that. So what would you like to do? I wanted to make this session to be very interactive session. I know post-lunch, the ideal thing is to sleep, which we all used to do in your time. And last bencher, I was always a last bencher, so I think, that's the place I used to be sitting. So I'm also looking at the last benches. So, but maybe if you have any questions before that, any questions you have, in terms of... Yeah.
So what was the Mahindra Satyam strategy to create a trust in the employee after the Mahindra Satyam scam?
So you see, we did a thing, I still remember 7th of January 2009. I joined MSAT in 2008 and I was not even a year old in the organization when this happened. And Satyam company, if you know, there's a lot of bonhomie there, there's a lot of connect which is already there in the company. And the first thing that happened typically that time that we got collected and it was essential to communicate with the people. So transparency was very essential that time. We inform people what is happening all the time. So every day morning or twice a day I'm saying, fine, you get together, you will tell this is what the situation is, this is what is going to happen. So transmission engagement was very, very, transparently it was happening. Other is that, we used to have meetings almost every day. And we used to, there were a lot of issues which were, Satyam was a company which was, people would always banks kind of said, the people who were taking loans because the share prices went down. So everybody was really facing different kind of challenges. I've seen people, bank manager calling, said, please deposit so much of money, your shares are not worth it, you pressed it. So there were different kind of a situation, and the whole thing is that we were hand-holding very tightly during this. So I think we had a very engagement model there. The leadership talk, a lot of meetings would happen that time. So leaders would come and say, look, I would be the last person to leave the company. So that was a lot of confidence among the employees that everybody is there. And I think that worked very well. So I think that's what used to happen. So we will ask you some tactical questions. Anybody? Okay, I think fine, doesn't matter. Except, so I'm very grateful to the management for calling me, giving me this opportunity. I'm really feeling very nice to be part of the whole crowd here, young. And I think it's a great learning opportunity that for me as well. So if there is any repetition during my talk, you can always raise your hand and I'll skip that question. I'm sure we don't have so many things to cover possibly. There could be some repetition. So what I'll take you through, today when you're talking of, we are going to be the future managers tomorrow. And we are certainly not talking about India. I take care of recruitment in 22 countries, and different geographies have different challenges. And we're talking of global managers tomorrow. Now when we talk about the global managers, how do we engage, how do we connect, how do we grow? What are the challenges in this global situation today? I think there are a few messages that I want to leave you with is that when you talk of the global scenario model, there is some of the lessons that we need to build. So can anybody tell me why did the dinosaurs became extinct? One at a time. They were not the fittest. They were not adaptable. So I think that's the key message. You see, as per one of the theory goes, that some 65 million years ago, there were meteors which struck the earth somewhere in the Gulf of Mexico. And because of that, there was so much of dust which is created that most of the plants perished because the sun was not there. And since the plant perished, most of the plant-eating animal perished. And since most of the plant-eating animal perished, most of the animal-eating animals could not survive. But however, in this belief, there are a lot of small animals who could survive, who could adapt. But because of the size or maybe the could not adapt itself, the dinosaur could not adapt. It became an extinct. So I think it is very important in today's world that we adapt changes. We accept changes, we embrace changes. So this is the first thing that I was talking about. Second thing is about there's a story. I don't know, you might have heard it, about the General Motors, about the Pontiac car, and they came out. So once this customer executive, he got a complaint from a customer that I have got a new Pontiac. The day I go, and every day as per the custom of our family, we go out for an ice cream. And the day I go for the vanilla ice cream, my car starts. The day I go for any other flavor of the ice cream, the car does not start. Now the statement of the problem which is given there is related to the flavor of the ice cream. Now how do the two relate? How is the starting of a car is connected with what kind of flavor of an ice cream a family has? So this problem was something this executive communicated to his manager, and they actually sent some person to their house to find out what exactly is the issue. And this person came to their house and he said, "Sir, can I also join you after dinner? And please come along." And he also went to the ice cream parlor. And sure enough, they had vanilla ice cream. The car came and started. And the day they had, next day when they again went, they realized that when he had another chocolate flavor, the car did not start. And he did repeatedly, and he found that same thing is happening. And ultimately they could diagnose that there was a problem in the vehicle, there was a pepper which was making, and they could find that when vanilla ice cream parlor was very, very close to the car parking, so car was still hot, and that is why it started. Whereas the other parlor was a little far away and there was a long queue, and that is why the car could not start. So what essentially I am saying that in today's world, it is essential that we become very, very customer centric. Everything is about customer today. And then one has to get solution. Do you have a solution? It's very important. Now, so this is an example which I wanted to accentuate, from today when we are talking about global arena, you know that it was told to me that, I was at the NAM for the diagram. I remember a very interesting incident there. That we used to have a 10-mile, long time back during my training time in the Indian Military Academy, Dehradun. And we used to have African cadets as well, the cadets from other countries. So once the 10-mile was, the whistle was blown, all of us ran, but there was a cadet, African cadet, who did not run. So when after everybody has run, people asked him, Zambek, why are you not running? Rosini, why are you not running? He said, what is the point of running 10 miles for me? Why not? He said, if I run 10 miles in my country, I will be out of country. So his country was so small, it did not make any sense to run 10 miles in this country. We are talking about global diversity, and it is important that geographies could be so small. There is an island here next to UK which has its own currency, which is possibly smaller, maybe as big as Pune itself, maybe smaller. So we have countries in the world, they have different geography. It is important that we understand the global diversity. Anyway, these are the three: accepting no limits, alternative thinking, and driving positive change. Of course, these are three pillars that we call it for the Mahindra System as we go along. So readiness for the global challenge is something which I have articulated, for today's presentation and today's talk with you. Connect, collaborate, and think. I have re-articulated connect, collaborate, and rise. Rise, of course, is the theme. Collaboration is very important when we talk of connect. Now, I'm sure you would have possibly read the book Thomas Friedman that today world is flat. What do you mean by world is flat? When you say world is flat, anybody, what do you mean by world is flat? Yeah.
Sir, a problem which is in the global arena will also affect in the normal our country. Means everyone together are bonded, like problems of every country will be our problem also, will affect us also.
Okay.
This is world is flat. Means world we are not means isolated from the.
Okay. Somebody else. Good. Pardon?
This is easy to go from one place to another.
It is easy to. Okay.
Globalization.
Alright. Yeah.
The globalization, like everyone is getting integrated. Nowadays, you cannot do anything if you are only in India. You have to be connected with other countries, and so the world is now.
Okay. So I think by and large, all of you are trying to convey that the global challenges, when you go to Europe, the challenges which are locally there, when the world becomes flat, are also applicable to you. The challenge which is there in India for local countries, local companies, are also challenges for the global companies. So when you go to the world arena, today you can go to any country, but you have to play with the rules of those local geographies. So world is flat, but when the world becomes flat, it comes with its own complexities. And when it becomes more complexities, it brings more challenges. It is important that if you are thinking of becoming a global manager, you are prepared for the global challenges and you understand. There is an organization called MITI in Japan, which prepares industries before they go out. There are a lot of people. Why don't you all get up? Just get up. Raise your right hand. Say, I am good. I am good. I am the best. Sit down. Good. So are you back with me? Yes, sir. Are you back with me? Yes, sir. Hello, uncles and aunties. Are you back with me? Okay, thank you very much. So this organization actually prepares industries so that they are capable of fighting outside. And it is very important, they have an internal, they collaborate, they compete internally to see who is the best, so that only the best actually go outside. So it is important that when you are talking of being global manager today, and I am sure all of you are looking at different geographies and you are working in different countries, it is very, very important that you prepare globally. Now, how do you prepare yourself to meet the global challenges? So, there are two parts of it. What is to be done and how. Now, what needs to be done? I don't know, how many of you read Alvin Toffler or heard of him? Alvin Toffler, anybody? Good, at least we have one hand raised. Alvin Toffler writes, citizens of 21st century have to first unlearn, then learn. Thus, continuously, you would like people like us, the way we are living today, we never had a mobile at your age. I have to unlearn a lot of things the way I was doing earlier, the way the things are happening today. I am not sure that the PCs would remain tomorrow. The tab would come. We were talking of Windows 8. It's very, very important that we get to unlearn things. In my time, I was in the army. I came to media. From media, I came to, Satyam, L&D, and then now I am in the HR. I continuously had to unlearn the way I would deal with people all the time. It is the way you would deal with a North Indian, you can't deal with South Indian. The way you would deal with the Japanese, you would not deal with the Malaysian. So very, very different cultural sensitivities. I had to unlearn all the time to remain alive and to be in business. So it is very, very important that, in 21st century, that we actually, I was talking to somebody in the Swisscom. The Swisscom is one of our customers, and they had come for a visit. And while I was talking to him, he says, Nimesh, your Indian people are very good, very hardworking. You give them a problem, solve it, but I have two problems. And you know what are the problems he told me? They cannot say no. They cannot say no, and they do not ask questions. And then I am saying another thing, they do not ask right questions. If you tell them that this job has to be done by tomorrow or after 1 week and they cannot do it, they can't say no. It is very important that if you cannot do something today, if you cannot do in time, you say, look, I cannot do it in time. Indian managers are not liked in Europe for the similar reasons. And this is a life situation, it happened last month with me. And they don't ask questions. It is very important that you ask questions, in the sense that if suppose there is a project requirement which is given to you, if some job is given to you, you would possibly have some questions to ask. You possibly may not be able to deliver in the time frame. You may have some questions that, okay, what exactly you want. I will give you a slide which will actually tell you what means by not asking questions. It actually become a Chinese whisper. You know what is Chinese whisper? Okay, good. We'll have an example there very shortly. Okay. Now, typically, when you say about, not about being dressed, right and read, right, we'll give an example there. So typically for a people like you, I have 3 A's. So, any guesses what these 3 A's could be?
Attitude.
Very good. Attitude?
Altitude, aptitude. Aptitude. Action. Aptitude. Aggressive.
Agile, aggressive. Okay. Attitude certainly is there. First A is about
Achievement.
appearance. Okay. First A is about appearance. Second A is about attitude. And third A is about accomplishment. Okay. So I'll take this to explain to you why it is relevant to you with a small example. What soap do you use? Dove. What soap do you use? What soap do you use?
What?
Okay, so fine. So if I give you Dove soap, you go and buy a Dove soap, but the package is slightly torn, will you buy the soap? Will you buy the soap? Why won't you buy it? I'm saying everything is intact. Why will you buy or not? What will be your thought if the package is slightly torn?
Already used.
Pardon? Already used. Damaged. Quality is not good, right? Very good. Pardon? Expired.
Gone.
Effective. So just imagine that if I give you a soap and the package is slightly torn or not there, I'm saying you feel that it's damaged, it's not good, quality is not good, right? Similarly, appearance is all about how do we carry ourselves. If you don't carry yourself well, when I say I'm not talking about the only appearance, how do you converse? And when you carry yourself, I'm saying you are from BITM or the Balaji Society Institute students today, it's a question whether you're in airport or market or wherever, how do you carry yourself? It's very, very important. How you are dressed, how you address people. In this business world, it is very, very important how you carry yourself. If you do not carry yourself, the adjectives that you gave just now are applicable to us. You remember those adjectives, right? All of you? Okay. But what do you do with the package in any case? After you bought the soap, suppose now the soap package was absolutely correct. You bought the soap. What have you done with it? What do you do? Huh? You open it and what do you do with the package? Throw it! Just imagine you are so concerned that you would not buy a soap because the package was slightly torn in spite of me telling you that there is nothing wrong with the soap. What you did? Throw it. Okay. So when you opened the soap, you found that the aroma was not there. You found the aroma was not there. What do you think about the soap now? Dove soap. Low quality. Okay, good. Pardon? Never buy. Okay, very good. Pardon? Cheated. Very good. Duplicate. Very good. Expired. Very good.
Chinese duplicate. Chinese products.
By the way, I'll just take a small. You know, there is a cream called Fair and Lovely. You heard of this cream? Do you know who uses this cream most? Can't tell you. Huh? Why? Very good, men. And this part of which part of the men? South India. Fair and Lovely is a cream which is meant for ladies mostly used by men and men from South India. Okay, so now they have come out with another scheme which is meant actually for men, right? If you know that. So similarly, I'm saying, all these adjectives that you are using for something which did not come back to the soap example now, such as duplicate, quality, you will never buy, right? Okay? So it is very, very important for you, right? For soap? Similarly, attitude. When people come inside the corporate world, you are nicely talked out, you are speaking good English, you are speaking good English, you are carrying yourself well, but you don't have an attitude. I said, okay, do you want to change your technology? Do you want to change your role? Can you move to some other place? Can you work on Saturday, Sunday? Can you do something in the night time, night shift? No, this is not something my forte. I didn't join. This is my cabin. Attitude is not correct. Attitude is very, very important in the job. In fact, today, most of the business leaders tell me, Nimesh, I can do anything with anybody, but I can't handle the attitude. So it is very, very important that we have the very positive attitude. Okay, so now coming back to the soap story, the soap package was very good. You open the package and then you threw away the package, you open the soap. The soap is very nice, bro. You're pretty happy, love soap, right? So when you went to the bathroom, when you went to have a shower, and when you used it, it was not giving any foam. The soap was giving good aroma, but when you wanted to have a shower, it is not giving you leather now. What will you feel about it? Pardon?
Fake.
Duplicate, what is something else?
More diluted.
Useless. Expired.
Mixture.
Mixture. Very good, excellent. So, when a person has come, carries himself, she or he carries himself very well, entered the corporate world, attitude is very good, but then put him on the job, when I give you an Excel sheet and ask you, can you analyze and tell me something, you can't analyze. I give you data which has some 25 columns and I tell you, can you analyze this for me, can you make a macro? Can you get the review? You can't do that. Can you make a presentation to me? So there can be a lot of things that we can talk about. So it is very important that you accomplish. Accomplishment is very important. You may not be able to do it. There are deadlines. Life is not that simple. There are deadlines, there are pressures. You may not be able to do 100% job, but you have to accomplish. The accomplishment is very, very important, and that's where I was coming from. That AAA, ladies and gentlemen, is remember in mind. What is this? First A? Appearance, experience, and accomplishment. You should be able to accomplish. You should be able to perform the job in time very well. Then only it makes sense to the corporate. So, some gyan, right? I'm sure. Somebody has already covered this? Good enough. So in Satyam, we have something called TDC. Okay. And this actually I think came from McKinsey when we made a Satyam way a long time back. So, and this is something that you people are going to be entering the corporate world. Remember it. If you really want to go up in the ladder. If you really want to do well in the corporate world, it is very, very simple. So what could this TDC to be? Thinking, development and?
Creative.
Developing? Yeah, quite good. Sorry? Thinking and development. No. These are three different. P is different, D is different, C is different. So what this TDC could be? Think, good. Okay, so I think you already know it. It's called thinking, doing, and communicating. Thinking, doing, and communicating. You see, please, yeah, just pay attention here. Yeah, thanks for so it is very important at all levels, rather at junior and things, when you go as an executive or when you become a CEO of a company, MD of a company, all the time you would have to do three things: thinking, doing, and communicating. Now, initially when you enter the corporate world, you would be doing. So maybe 40, 50, 60% of time should be spent in doing. 20%, 10%. But it is very important that you must think and coming out with innovative ideas, new ideas. Don't limit yourself to whatever the job has been given to you. Because if limiting yourself to the job what has been given to you, hello, not everybody is with me. Okay. So, are you finding it boring? Don't placate me, okay? I know it's a little odd time, and the kind of, this, in your situation, I would have been completely bored actually. So, having so many speakers and yet another speaker and few more to come by, so I'm sure it would have been the same response from my side as well. But I know it is very tough, okay, to remain awake. So, I was coming about TDC. What I'm trying to tell you that you may learn any domain knowledge, you may learn anything, but these things possibly people will not tell you. Thinking, doing and communicating. The thinking, doing is, so you have to do the job. You must think, whatever job has been given to you, the same customer whom I am talking to you, they were looking for some solution. And then when they actually suggested something, they said, the team said, no, sir, we already know this is a solution for this. You never communicated this. And if you are doing a good job, communicate. It is very, very important that you communicate to the leadership, communicate everybody what you are doing. If you are not communicating, after a year, don't come back, sir, my rating is not good. He said, why? He said, I never knew you even existed. Your ability to write emails, very, very important. Ladies and gentlemen, remember, when you enter the corporate world, you will be writing emails. Email is like an arrow. Once you throw it, God knows who is going to use in what context you want. First of all, your English should be correct. The context should be correct. Right? Otherwise, at the end of the year, it will happen that, So, and this portion of thinking, doing and communication would change. Initially, as you go up the ladder, possibly your doing part will become less, your thinking and communicating will become more. But most of the time we have seen the problem, issue is that people do not communicate. I'm sure all of you are aware of no more Steve Jobs, right? And I think we have something. I have my friend Rajesh is a very great fan of Steve Jobs, and I am also a very great fan of Steve Jobs. And Steve Jobs, said in one of the presentations, in the Stanford University, you seen that? Stay hungry, stay foolish. So what do you mean by stay hungry, stay foolish? Anybody? Please think about it while I set up another video for you.
People say you have to have a lot of passion for what you're doing, and it's totally true. And the reason is because it's so hard that if you don't, any rational person would give up. It's really hard, and you have to do it over a sustained period of time. So if you don't love it, if you're not having fun doing it, and you don't really love it, you're going to give up. And that's what happens to most people, actually. If you really look at the ones that ended up, being successful, unquote, in the eyes of society, and the ones that didn't, oftentimes it's the ones that were successful loved what they did so they could persevere when it got really tough. And the ones that didn't love it quit because they're sane, right? Who would want to put up with this stuff if you don't love it? So it's a lot of hard work, and it's a lot of worrying constantly. And if you don't love it, you're going to fail. So you got to love it, you got to have passion. And I think that's the high order bit. The second thing is you've got to be a really good talent scout. Because no matter how smart you are, you need a team of great people. And you've got to figure out how to size people up fairly quickly, make decisions without knowing people too well, and hire them and see how you do and refine your intuition and be able to help build an organization that can eventually just build itself, because you need great people around you.
This is one presentation I thought we could. So what Steve Jobs is saying, I don't know. Every time we are told you should know what customer wants, he came up and said, customer does not know what he or he wants. He created an iPad. iPad is being copied world over. Windows 8, if you have seen. Have you seen Windows 8? Anybody? It's a very, very different operating system. The operating system is same for the mobile and for the tab. And God knows what is going to happen tomorrow, the way it is going. You have Google Glass coming up. How many of you have heard of Google Glass? Customer does not know today what she or he wants, and he created something else. It is very important that you do what you want to do in life. My story, ladies and gentlemen, is not a very success story. That's why I don't want to tell you. People are interested only in success stories. You have seen from my profile, I have moved from something else to something in what I am doing. It should not happen to you. At your age, you can take risks. You can do what you want to do. You may fail, you may pass. That's what he's trying to do. He could create something like an iPod, because the whole company was passionate about creating something. There's another video, I'm saying, possibly I will not take it now. There's another, says, you should say no. You know that video? Yes. You should be able to say no. You cannot do everything in life. There are so many options today. I think the young generation, current generation today, is confused today because there are too many options. You have to decide what you want to do with your life. Believe me, ladies and gentlemen, I ask people during their interviews, what do you want to do? What are you passionate about? People tell me, I want to become a manager. Somebody says, I want to become a CPO. Somebody says, I said, what are you passionate about? What do you want to do with your life? Something if you really want to, because this is one life you get it. And there will be no another life for you, for anyone of us. It is very important that we do what we want to do. And that is the message that Steve Jobs was trying to do, that you might succeed in doing something. But if you're not passionate about something, doing something, then you actually give up. And many times, Apple today has become almost a $500 billion brand today, right? And I'm sure it has happened. And the second thing is talking about, people. You are the strength. You are the people who are going to take this corporate world. It is in your hands. It's up to you to take yourself seriously or not. It doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter which company you go from. There are people who have created value in such a small thing. So you would have seen possibly rickshaw in Delhi, right, which is operated by battery. There are very, very small applications which have been created which are extremely useful to us. So it is very important that we passionate about what we do. So stay hungry and stay foolish. So I think all of you know what does it mean, right? To stay hungry, you're hungry for more. You stay foolish that you want to know more. You want to do more, you stay hungry, and you stay foolish because you learn more, because you feel that you have to continuously learn, unlearn. Very, very important. Okay. So only the paranoid survive. Who said? Andy Grove. Who has read Andy Grove, by the way? Who is Andy Grove? Who is Andy Grove? Andy Grove.
Writer.
He's the Intel chief, by the way. And he was the Intel chief. You know Intel?
Yes, sir.
So what is so peculiar about Intel? Innovation. What innovation? Marketing innovation. Okay, let me ask you. Marketing students. Please. Do you use a computer today without having a logo called Intel inside? That was one of the biggest innovations he did. Something which is embedded inside your computer, he showed it outside. That's one of the Intel campaign which had Intel inside, marketing campaign. But what is Andy Grove saying? What is Andy Grove saying? Andy Grove saying, if you know the Intel was in memory business, chip business, it was in the processor business. Has anybody read this book ever? Okay, please do read it. Now, Intel, what happened that when they realized that a lot of Japanese companies are actually making memories, much better memories, much faster and much cheaper. And the result was they realized that they possibly cannot sustain for a long time. And they started completely done with their whole business. And he says that, only paranoid survive. Only the people who's paranoid. What do you mean by paranoid? He's always somebody's following me, right? So he are always reinventing, recreating. There is a company, one of the most admired, innovative company, okay, is a plastic company. And you know what is the innovation cycle? Just to make a while this, what could be the innovation cycle? 1 week. That means within a week they will change the whole products. That is the kind of innovation cycle they have. So Intel, chief, he says, if you are not changing, if you are not innovating, you will not survive in 21st century. It is very, very important, ladies and gentlemen, in this century that we are placed, that there has to be continuous innovation, because the cycle of innovation is very, very fast. The change is very fast. So it's important that we, so only paranoid survive. So only, that's what people, if you are only in this 21st century, if you are not innovating, if you are always reinventing, then possibly the paranoid will survive. Be your own competitor. Today when we are looking at, if you look two people on a scale of competition, and two people are competing each other, then possibly only, not both of them would, on a scale of 10 out of 10, would possibly be 10. So it is very important that you become your own competitor. Why are you looking at somebody else? You may be good at something else. If you become your own competitor, there is something called Kaizen. Joseph Juran, never heard of him? Okay. So when, we had some Six Sigma and we had some Kaizen spirit, right? There are two different, one is Japanese, one is American philosophy. The Kaizen talks continuous improvement. It is very important, whatever you are doing today, whatever we are doing today, we continuously change, we continuously innovate. I think that's very important. Be your own competitor. I think cultural sensitivity I've already covered, so I'll not cover it. So every challenge is an opportunity. Heard of this person, Lee Iacocca? Who is Lee Iacocca?
Car maker.
Yeah, he was in Ford, very true. And then Chrysler. So how is Lee Iacocca known? Lee Iacocca is known for what? For saving Chrysler from crisis, from bankruptcy. First time in US, a bank, $1 billion loan was given and they paid off it. So what I'm saying, it is the intent which is very important. What is your intent? You are not going to be famous by becoming possibly a CEO of a company. You might become famous by something, Ratan Tata. I'm sure he is known for very many things apart from the business. He has created that value. If you go to Jamshedpur, first time when I went to Jamshedpur, I was talking to the auto driver. He told me, sir, I have seen my growth, family of my growth with the growth of Tata. It is important that you see when you have industries coming up, you see the people growth along with your growth. Today we emphasize on teamwork, we emphasize on the corporate social responsibility. These are very, very important assets that you. So it is important that, and in this way, you will find that there are a lot of challenges which are going to come. Now, are you looking at challenge as a challenge, or are you looking at an opportunity? Every challenge could be an opportunity. There are very small things in life, but if you think that there are opportunity for you to do something different, you will look at an opportunity. But if you're feeling that it's a challenge, you will get stuck. So it is essentially the attitude part that you were talking initially is very, very important. So you would have heard these three words: cooperation, competition, and collaboration. Is there any difference between the three? What is the difference? Okay, good attempt. Very good. Like to try somebody more? Somebody like to try?
Cooperation is with.
Anybody?
Competition is against.
You can attempt.
Collaboration is.
Yeah, good.
The cooperation is two companies in which one company is helping another company. And competition is that they are competing with each other. And collaboration is they intermingle with each other and means they are interdependent with each other. They are doing one is helping. Both are
What helping?
Good, very good attempt. What's your good name? Mukul. Thank you, Mukul. Very good, good attempt. Essentially, you see, competing. You got an example of rabbit and tortoise. Okay, so you've known all the stories after the first race. You had a first race, yeah, second race, and the third race. So first race, I'm saying all of you know the tortoise won the race and the rabbit. Okay, so first race is all about competition. They were competing. They were competing, and one lost. Okay. The second is, if you see, I'm saying when the tortoise thought, so maybe he started cooperating. And the third is collaboration. Collaboration is about you have a common objective. Cooperation is, look, tomorrow there are exams. If I get time, I will tell you. But if I don't get time, I will not tell you. So that's cooperation. But collaboration is that we have a common objective. We are working for a common objective. Like third race, when the tortoise and rabbit decided that the objective is to reach there faster. So they used rabbit where in the land that he was faster. They used tortoise in the water where tortoise has escaped. So essentially it is all about teamwork, and collaboration means today in the business world environment we are talking of collaborative work. The different people with different skill sets is important. If you recall, I think Steve Jobs was also talking about collaboration. How many marketing people? Just raise your hand. Oh wow! Great, excellent. So, have you read this book called Marketing Warfare?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Have you read this book called Positioning also?
Yeah.
Have you read this book called Horse Sense? I wish if you not read Horse Sense, you must read, especially the people who want to become entrepreneurs. It may be relevant for you. Okay. So marketing warfare is very, so positioning and marketing. What I'm saying, there is something called OODA loop. Have you heard of it? OODA. OODA. OODA loop stands for observe, orient, decide, and act. Your ability to observe, orient, decide, and act should be faster than your competition. That means you have to scan the environment all the time. Just imagine, which Sony would have ever thought that the competition to the Sony would come from mobile, camera. They could have never thought that the camera whole industry, that the mobile industry would be a competitor to them. So you have to scan the changes which are taking place all the time, observe. Second thing I'm talking about the orient. Now, why use this marketing warfare and I'm talking of this book? The warfare has always been happening. And in warfare it is very essential that you observe all the time. You orient your skills and technique, skills and your attention left side. Decide. It is very important you decide. There is a book by, Awaken the Giant Within. Anybody read? Anthony Robbins. Very good. Who's that? Oh, very good. So, it does make decisions. Make decisions. Decisions can be right or wrong. It is very, very important that, you make decisions in today's life. Decisions can be right or wrong. And finally act. So if you are sitting on something which is too long, you're not making decisions, things will not wait for you. Occur to you what is destiny in life? So let me take you in a philosophical way. Have you ever wondered what is destiny in life? Some people say, look, I had this question with me. A person who is born in a laborer's family, laborer, his or her destiny is decided? Somebody is born in a very rich family, his or her destiny possibly is decided to a certain extent or not? I'm saying, either way. So what is this? That is, if that is the case, then what can I do? If everything is already decided, what can I do? That is, I think I got a small, possibly answer. To think of, this is your destiny. The whole green field is your destiny. And there is a cow. And there is a cow which is tied to a peg. And there is a rope tied to the peg. There is a rope tied to the peg. Now, if you look, the cow has all the grass within this circumference, within this circle it can eat, right? The cow has an option. The cow has an option to stand there, eat the grass. Cow has an option to, or buffalo. It's a buffalo? It's a buffalo. It's a cow. Okay. So, there is an option to move all around, sit at a place, or they put some, cow which will possibly come outside and, even this part of the grass can they can. So your life has a destiny which is surrounded by the circle. It's up to you, up to us to go around or stand there. Or some of us possibly could go little outside the circle and possibly nudge the grass there as well. So that is the destiny. That's the answer I thought. Okay. So this is another interesting slide. Can you read this? Okay. The first slide is saying how the customer expresses. So this is a situation typically in the projects. You will always be doing some project work. So what will happen? This is how the first slide, first photograph is about the, how the customer explained the problem was. This is what the customer explained, that this is what he or she wanted. Are you paying attention to me? Listen. Good. So second, this is what I was saying, Chinese whisper. The second photograph is about how the project leader understood it. The first photograph is about how the customer explained it. Second is about how the project leader understood it. Third is how the analyst designed it. Fourth is how the programmer wrote it. Fifth is how the business consultant described it. How the project was documented. There are no documentation. Sixth is what operations were installed. How the customer was built. See? Okay? How it was supported. And finally, what the customer really needed. Customer actually needed was last photograph. What customer told was the first slide. Get my point? So what I was saying initially, it is very important that you ask questions. Because customer may not tell you what exactly he or he wants. That is why it is very important that you ask questions and you ask right. Get my point? This is a very typical scenario for any project, I am sure. Okay. So can you try to Understand? Try to read the color and not the word. Okay, in your mind. Okay. In your mouth. Are you finding some difficulty there? Lot of difficulty there? This is called innovation. Okay, looking differently, finding alternative solutions. It is very important when you start looking from a different angle. So my whole idea of putting this slide was that how things can be looked at differently, how you can create new value. I'm sure there's a lot that can happen there. Okay. So we come to another puzzle. 1 into 365 or 365 into 1. So is there any difference? Is there any difference between the two? So I'll ask three people. Okay. Somebody from this side. What is the difference between 1 into 365 and 365 into 1? Or there is no difference at all? Okay. Okay. Good. Somebody from this. Back bench. Somebody from the lab. My colleagues, my friends are sitting there. Yeah, anybody from the last row? Anybody? Last but one row. Okay, anybody else? So we have a small competition going on here, by the way. So, the people on my left hand side to right hand center. So anybody who would like to articulate his thought, her thought? Yeah, please go ahead.
It's like 1 into 365 means 1 day is equal to 365. And 365 days is equal to 1. That means we are covering 365 days into 1 day. And we are covering 1 day into 365.
Okay, very good attempt. Good attempt. Okay. Yeah, good. Anybody from this side? Okay. Like to make another attempt? So essentially, I think you are pretty close to that. 361 into 365 means,
365
ladies and gentlemen, quiet please. 1 into 365 means 1 day job repeated 365 times. 365 means 365 different experiences of 1 day each. Which is better? First one? Okay, so please understand that we should live by what different experiences we are having of 1 day each rather than doing the same job again and again. If you are doing the same job again and again, you are not creating any value. Every day you create different. That's what I'm saying, casual spirit. Hello? Pay attention please. Hello with me? I know it is me. It must be very boring. I think I'm just finishing it off. Okay. Before I go to this particular small video and come to the conclusion. So, there was this movie where there were two brothers, right? This is a movie. Movie is one at a time, please. One at a time, please get up and tell me. There are two brothers. One is both are competing with each other. Sorry. One at a time. Okay. All of you see no. The question is not yet answered. So all of you seen race? Yes, sir. What is your lesson out of seeing? Please get up and answer. Please, no more, please. No more, please. Please. get up and answer. Having seen this movie called Race, what's your take on this movie? Anybody? One from this side. Anybody? Yeah, please. Yeah. Excellent. Because intent is very important. Do you want to lose? Do you want to? If you want to win, you win. If you want to if your intent is to create something new, you win in the life. Because if you always want to beat somebody, you get beaten. If you want to win, you get win. So remember, it is the intent which is very, very important. If you want to beat, the brother which wanted to beat always got beaten. The brother which wanted to win, towards the end. That's a very strong message in the movie which is there. And I want to tell you, it is very true in the real life.
Yes, sir.
It is very true in the real life. What is the intent that you have? So towards this end, I have a small video.
Nice to see you. My name is Nick Vujicic and it's a pleasure to be with you. So I have no limbs, but I have my little chicken drumstick. And so it's like, you like that? That would be really cool if I could get this and get some techno going like, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. There you go, you like that? Is that cool? Beautiful. But honestly, along the way you might fall down like this. Ready? Huh? So what do you do when you fall down? Get back up. Everybody knows to get back up because if I start walking, I'm not going to get anywhere. But I tell you, there are some times in life where you fall down and you feel like you don't have the strength to get back up. Do you think you have hope? Because I tell you, I'm down here, face down, and I have no arms, no legs. It should be impossible for me to get back up, but it's not. You see, I will try 100 times to get up, and if I fail 100 times, if I fail and I give up, do you think that I'm ever going to get up? No. But if I fail, I try again, and again, and again. But I just want you to know that it's not the end. It matters how you're going to finish. Are you going to finish strong? And you will find that strength to get back up, like this.
Thank you very much. So all I wanted to tell you was the end of my journey with you. Life is a journey, ladies and gentlemen. Every challenge is important. Live it full, gracefully. Thank you very much. I really enjoyed being with you. If there are any questions, I would take on.